So this is another portion that we talk to students about. And just to clarify with them, this is only for the UC system and it's not for Cal State's or the private colleges. Private colleges, they're gonna check their website and see if they have like a prompt that they need to answer. But for Cal State's, it's not required. It's basically like they want you to talk about the world that you come from, whether it be your family, your school, the community you come from, like your environment, and just basically like how you've been shaped by those experiences growing up. It's a pretty open-ended question for the most part. For the second prompt, what is that about? So I think talent. What that means is basically the university is giving you an education. What are you going to bring to the university in return? So this is why the personal statement is really, really important. Just because a lot of students are going to have very similar applications, and this is going to be one of the most important things that will determine one student from another. When you're applying for a job, right, you have to give them a resume, and that's basically like your college application. But the thing that's going to really get you in or out of that job position is your interview. And your personal statement is basically your interview. They can only tell so much from a paper, from a bunch of numbers and statistics about yourself. What is it about you that's going to make you pop, compared to other students? So just emphasize that this is one of the very most important parts of their college application.
Overachievers have a tendency to sound the same when they write their personal statements. So you really want to sound, when you're writing these, you really want to sound like you're an actual down-to-earth person and you really you have something to give back to the university. Because honestly, they can care less about what you're taking from them. They really want to know what you're giving to them. And that's why they're looking for very well-rounded individuals who can really contribute to intellectual diversity.
Definitely using your own, one of the tips to give them is using your own voice. You don't want to sit next to a thesaurus the whole time and try to sound like someone you're not. They want to see that you're coming into it with your own personality and your own character. And like you say, people are going to be trying to sound as articulate as possible, and then that's going to make them sound like everyone else that's trying to do the same thing. So you want to try to just bring out your own character in your personal statement.
Have them talk to their counselors, their teachers, and have them reread their personal statements. Because I know with me, it helps me out a lot to have my English teacher, my ABBA teacher, and other teachers and counselors to read over it, and we also read over them. So tell them to contact us and we'll read over their personal statements.
Let them know that to spend as much time on a personal statement as possible. And like Jen was saying, in that time that they're taking, a lot of rereading, a lot of reevaluating of their personal statement is super important. And one of the resources we can give them is our staff email listserv. So when you can definitely give them this email address, and then it'll go to all of staff, and one of us will proofread their personal statement and give them tips and we'll give them all the tips and hints to make sure to revamp it and work it so they're best.
Can people other than staff volunteer to read personal statements?
Yes, so this is why we're all training to know what to look out for in the personal statement. We're going to have a past screening on AIM, and students will be asking us, oh hey, I was wondering if you could help me out with this.
When you help them edit their stuff, are you going to just help them with their ideas, or do you actually go through the grammar?
Well actually, or grammar is, apparently they don't look out for grammar, but it helps with presenting themselves, definitely. You can give them tips on grammar if you want to. That's definitely, I think that would be a big help for them too. But most of the thing you want to give them critique on is the content and the way they present it. You don't want to tell them what to put, but you want to give them, at the same time you want them to use their own voice still. So you just give them critique on basically the type of content they're putting in it. Both prompts have to be answered, and they have to equal a total of 1,000 words, which I'm pretty sure you know. A maximum of 1,000 words. And then that can be allocated however they want to. So one can be 600, one can be 400. But if they're planning on having one much longer than the other one, the smallest one should be no less than 250 words. And then the other one should be 750. and just to make sure if they're gonna be writing a lot, not to go more than like maybe 10 words or 12 words over the maximum. Otherwise, if it's too long, the readers will not read it.
Like something that an admissions officer told me is like sometimes people spend so much time describing their world that they don't really talk about like how they affect the world. Like let's say for the world they come from, they talk about, oh, like my family was under-resourced, right? And so like there's like this long paragraph about like their dad or their mom, and that's not what they're looking for. So you should always, like, when you're looking over personal statements or when you're telling students about this personal statement, tell them that like only briefly describe, you know, as succinctly as possible the world that they come from, but focus more on how like they're affecting the world or how like they've moved on or they've changed it, that kind of thing.
Or more like how the world they come from has empowered them to change the world.
Yeah, like they don't want a sob story. Like they understand that you've gone through hardships, but sure you can talk about as many hardships as you want to, but not really revealing how you've come out of those hardships is the main point that they want to look for. Don't use cliches. Don't be like, oh, the world is my oyster, blah, 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 like, you know, some tacky lines like that. That's definitely a waste of space in your personal statement. You only have so many words to really bring out who you are to them. And try not to be like super abstract with like your wording, or, you know, like don't try to be like, oh, use a poem. This is because you want to be as straightforward as possible in your personal statement. I've read some personal statements where students like wrote a poem for the first like 200 words, and I was like, like, you know, like, I mean, it's great. Like, it shows that you're very artistic and you love, you know, artistic expression, but at the same time, it's really important that you utilize every word possible as straightforward as possible. Do not just state the obvious. Like I said, your application is going to have all these numbers, and it's going to have a list of all the classes you had already. And to say, oh yeah, I took these so-and-so classes, and it's helped me grow, like, it doesn't say too much because it's already on their application. They don't want to see a repeat of information. They want to see something more. So definitely, it's better to focus on one thing on their application that might, you know, not have so much detail that they can really expand on, like maybe a leadership position, you know, something that they're very passionate about, maybe like a sport and how that's helped them grow, taking a leadership position in an organization or club and how that's helped them grow as a person, and how definitely they can apply that to, you know, the world they come from or the quality or talent that they want to contribute to the university. Yes. For some reason, say there's like a drop in the grade one year, and then it's going to look kind of weird, like, so you have fairly good grades and then all of a sudden there's one low grade. Usually if there's a reason behind that low grade, that they can definitely bring that out in their personal statement. There's like an additional comments area. Like for some reason they want to explain a part in their personal, like from their application, like a low grade. That can be their opportunity to bring that out there. Like they had a certain hardship, maybe like someone in the family passed away and they weren't able to focus in school, but out of that, like it showed maybe the next year they retook the class and they were able to, you know, bring up their grade just because they felt like it wasn't something that should, like, you know, unfinished business that they left undone. That they try to make sure that they were bettering themselves in that part where they were weak at that time because of a hardship, but they were growing out of it.